What's up guys, Jim here. Today's video I've brought some fancy OEM standard levers for my bike. The gear shifter here with a bush in it. It's come with the ball joint as well. And also the brake lever. I'm going to replace the custom ones I have on them at the moment because I don't like them. I'd prefer these standard ones. I'm going to leave the bush in this brake pedal, but I've got the new bush for the gear lever, so I've also got a rubber here just in case I wanted to change the end, but I don't think I will. There's the new bush for it. I should be fitting that shortly, showing you how I do that. That just goes in there. And this is a little type of boss which I got as well just in case. And a wavy washer. So we've got all the bits we need. Let's replace the bush. Okay, so as you can see I've got my lever in a vise, and on one side I've got the 32mm socket and the other side I've got 16mm socket. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten the vise up and it's going to pop out and pop the bush clean out. You should probably hold this to avoid doing what I've just done here and dropping the lever. But you can see there the bush has come clean out. I did try this in a press as well. I couldn't do it in the press. I haven't got the right attachments. I have, however, found that this way is the easiest way, so I just recommend doing it this way. Comes out nice and easy. If you need to clean the lever up, do so, and then we'll put the new one in. Alright, so here's the new one. I've got a washer here just to protect it as I push it in. And what we're going to do is we're going to lather it with some nice thick grease inside to help the bush push in nice. And we're also going to cover this boss in as much grease as possible. And once it's all greased up, I'm going to use the press here and just evenly push it down. Make sure it goes down nice and even. You don't want it to go in crooked at all, or it may damage or shorten the life of the bush. Push it down till it's in there nice and good. Right, this is ready to get fitted when I get home. You can see here I've put a bolt through with washers each side and a nut. That's just to hold the bush and the boss in place so I don't lose them until I get home. You don't have to do this part. But yeah, fairly happy with that, so let's go fit it. Right, I've got the bike ready to fit the new OEM lever. You can see the levers here. I just need to remove the bolt, nut and washers from the middle. As I said, I only put them in so I didn't lose the bush or boss until I got home. As you can see, this is the old lever. I don't like it at all. Someone hacked off the OEM lever and put this bit on. Even with tape it scratches my boots and I just don't like the look of it, and it's got too much play in my opinion side to side here. So let's get it off. Let's get the new one fitted. It looks like it's held in with the 8mm Allen key bolt here and an 8mm nut. They are on the hangers and the footboard is currently in the way, so we're going to have to remove the footboard. Do this underneath with a small Allen key and a 10mm each side. I don't think these are original nuts and washers, but they do their job. Okay, so first off, like I said, I'm going to remove the base of the footboard. Use a small Allen key and a 10mm. I'm just going to undo them and make sure I take a mental note of where the washers and spacers are so that I can put them back in the same place when I rebuild it. Just going to take these off and then put it all to one side safely out of the way. Okay, I'll just show you the order mine came off in. Yours may not be the same because, as I said, these definitely aren't OEM bolts. So just take a mental note of how yours came off. And now with the front off, we'll do the back again and put the footboard on the floor. Okay, now to remove the next part. As I said, it's an 8mm Allen key part that goes in the middle here, and an 8mm for the bolt next to it. What I'm going to do is remove the 8mm bolt first. I'm going to undo it all the way. Behind the hanger there is a sort of shim tubing that the bolt goes through. Just take a note of that because it will fall off once you've removed this bolt. That will need to go back in afterwards, so don't lose it. Okay, so that little tubing I was talking about is actually wedged in there with how tight this is, so I'll just crack off this 8mm first, and then I'll get the tubing out and show it you. So this is the little bit of tubing I was talking about. Obviously the bolt goes through the hanger and then it goes through this and bolts in, so just put that to one side and make sure you don't lose it. And now we shall just remove this 8mm Allen key, and the pedal should come off loose now. It has still got the gear lever linkage attached to it though, so we will need to undo that with a 10mm spanner. You can also crack that off before you take this off if you fancy. It would save some hassle. Unfortunately on my bike it seems this hanger has the boss actually welded onto it. You can't remove it, so the new boss I've got doesn't look like it's going to be fitted. Okay, like I said, now I need to remove the gear linkage. The best way to do this in my opinion is obviously grab the 10mm. I'm going to hold this straight so I can undo it, and then what I'm going to do is just crack the nut off, and rather than move the nut away from where the adjustment is, I'm going to spin the lever around and take it off that way so I don't lose any adjustment on my linkage. You can also, if you like, put a little bit of tape just behind the nut before you crack it off, and that way you know the nut won't move any further. Okay, so here's the old pedal off again. See, the bush doesn't actually look that bad when you look at it if the camera will focus. This obviously was an OEM lever at some point, and somebody's hacked the end off to put this thing on. It's not to my taste, so let's get on and put the nice new OEM one on. So like I said, here's the new lever, well, new second-hand lever. The boss in the middle, I'm obviously going to have to take this out because I can't remove the old boss, which is a bit of a shame. I should put that to one side, and the next step is just going to be rebuilding all of this. I have greased inside the thread of the ball joint, so as I do the linkage up it should force the grease back up into the ball joint, so everything's nice and free and lubed up. It's the same principle. I'm going to hold the linkage in one place and I'm going to spin the lever on up to the nut and then just nip the nut back up. That way I shouldn't lose any adjustment at all. While I'm rebuilding this, I'm just going to put the 8mm Allen key bolt in loosely, because I've still got to fit that tube in the other side. I don't want to make it too tight, so I just put it in loosely, finger tight, and then grab the tube and put that in. Once everything's in place properly, I should tighten it up properly. Once they're tight, remember to tighten up or nip up the gear linkage again. Don't want that coming loose on you. Now unfortunately it seems on mine, because the boss is part of this hanger, I may end up having to change the hanger because there is still a little bit of side to side movement. Not quite as much as there was before. I don't know whether it's because of this boss, so I'll probably get a new hanger to replace that in the future, which kind of sucks, but at least you get the point. How to do it. It's not a hard job, it's fairly easy to do. Don't be a spoon like I have, because I've just realised in that gap I should have put this wavy washer. So I'm just going to remove all this now and put this wavy washer back in. Hopefully that'll take up some of the extra little bit of play there. Okay, so now the other side's done, I'm going to replace this brake lever. It's a lot easier to change. Put the nice OEM one back on it. If we look underneath, you can see this great big 8mm bolt here and a clip on the back where the piston for the brake is attached to. Just remember to take a mental note of where the spring for the pedal is seated. So there it is. New brake lever fitted. Took about 2 minutes. It looks 100 times better in my opinion. If you enjoyed the video guys, remember to subscribe and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, peace.